my soul. I apologize. I'm going to have to put on the shades for the rest of this video. I hope that's cool with you guys. It's just super bright out here. My eyes are really sensitive, so here we go. Alright, much better. So I got a question not too long ago from one of my clients as far as, you know, hey, I'm a multi-passionate. Should I put all of my stuff under one site, or should I split it up into different sites so that each site has a niche? And I wanted to talk about that a little bit today because I think that's a really good subject, and it's a hard decision to make. When I first started out, I went back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Ultimately, I did decide that for me personally, I have all of my branding information on Good in My Soul, and I also have my art website. For anyone who didn't know, I'm an artist as well. So, and I'll put links to both of those below if you want to check those out. For me personally, I decided to do that, and here's why. I eventually want my art to be in some galleries and some things like that. Now, while that's not something I necessarily want forever, it is something I want to try and at least have the experience with. Galleries do tend to have, and especially certain people in the art community do tend to have certain expectations of what your website will look like, how your work is presented, things like that. So that is why I chose to split that out. With that said, I talk openly on both sites about the other thing, and if you do choose to split things up, I recommend that you do that. Here are some tips, real quick tips, to help you decide whether you want to have everything under one umbrella and one website or split it up. The first thing you want to take into consideration and keep in mind is how much time do you have. When you've got multiple sites, it means you've got multiple sites to administer, check on, multiple blogs, multiple email lists. There's a lot of doubling of work in many cases, even possibly double social media accounts. For example, you might have 2 Twitter accounts, 2 Facebook, etc., etc. And that's really all up to personal preference and what you think is going to work for you, because that's part of authentic branding, right? What's authentic to you. But oftentimes that does create that situation, so that's something to keep in mind. The next thing you want to keep in mind is, if you are a multi-passionate, is there a way to bring every single thing you do together under one umbrella that's cohesive and makes it work? If so, my personal recommendation would be to bring it all together under one site. The last thing I would keep in mind when trying to decide whether to keep everything under one umbrella or split everything into niches is, how is it going to come across to your customers? If you're trying to present a brand that is multi-passionate and you work on multiple things, it could possibly be derogatory or negative to your brand to split everything up. And that's not necessarily the case. Again, you really have to look at you specifically. I'm just trying to give you guys points to really think about here today. But I apologize, it's getting kind of windy out here. But yeah, you just really want to look at that and say, okay, put yourself in your customers or your clients' shoes. If you're really trying to brand yourself and be authentic and say, hey, I'm a multi-passionate, and really push that, do you want to split everything up? And like I said, there are certain situations where it's better to split a couple of things. I think as long as you can do that and make sure you're doing it in a way that is authentic to you and that you're maintaining your brand across everything, because here's the deal, guys. You are your brand, right? So who you are and who you express yourself as across your websites, across social media, in person, whatever, people associate you with your brand. You are your brand. So if you're not coming across authentic across all of those platforms and you're not being who you are across all of those platforms, it is going to show, and that's going to cause you a problem regardless of how you do this. So in summary, here are the 3 things I recommend thinking about when you're deciding whether or not you want to split things up or keep it all together. Number 1, do you have the time to maintain well both venues, both sites, because you are doubling your work? What do you realistically have the time to do? Do you realistically have the time to truly do a good job maintaining 2 different things? Because if you don't, then you need to keep everything together, and that's as much for your sanity as for anybody else. The second thing I would say is think about if you can make everything come together cohesively under your one website. If you can, and you can find that common thread that works for everything, I would absolutely keep everything under one site. There are certain situations, such as in my situation, which I discussed before, where it warrants splitting those 2 up. Just be aware that there is going to be more work occurring when you do that, so make sure it's a decision you really need to make. The third thing I would say is to really think about how it's going to come across to your customers. We're talking about building an authentic brand and being a multi-passionate. So if you've got 15 different sites, then you're going to have to do 15 different things And is that, if you can do that and keep everything cohesive and keep your brand going and keep it authentic to you, then go for it. But most people probably are not going to be able to do that, so just keep that in your back of your mind. I hope you guys have enjoyed these tips and you found them helpful, and I'll talk to you soon. If you haven't already, head over to the website and sign up for my mailing list, and that way I can give you your free training on how to create your soul-centered business. I'm Candace Jai with Good in My Soul. Thanks and have a great day.